Eastern Airlines tacked a notice onto a company bulletin board and also mailed it to all of its TriStar pilots. The bulletin warned against accidentally bumping the control wheel. One of the things that we built into all the modern jetliners and airliners is simply a pressure switch. So if you need to take over right now, you don't want to be wasting time down here on the panel turning the autopilot off. You just grab it and the autopilot goes away. The flight data reporter tells investigators the precise moment that the plane's altitude started to drop. It was 11:37 and 8 seconds. By studying the voice recorder transcript, investigators can tell what was happening in the cockpit at that exact time. By turning to speak to the flight engineer, investigators believe that Captain Moss bumped his control wheel. He did it with just enough pressure to disengage that part of the autopilot that had been controlling the plane's altitude. Without anyone realizing it, a simple nudge of the control wheel started a gradual descent. On a dark moonlit night, the pilots had no visual cues to tell that they were falling.
It was determined that occasionally, with just a soft bump, the autopilot had been disengaged.
So before the crash, it wasn't part of the training. A training director for Eastern Airlines eventually revealed that before the Everglades crash, pilots were never taught that a bump could disengage the autopilot. The NTSB comes to a sobering conclusion. The plane crash was due to pilot error. The crew was distracted. They mishandled the plane's sophisticated automation, and they hadn't been properly trained. Eastern 401 was a pivotal action in aviation safety history, and we didn't know this for about 10 or 15 years in terms of the true import of what it did to us, focusing our attention on the fact that the way we handled things in the cockpit was not only not correct, but it was dangerous. Investigators also make a disheartening find. When the nose gear indicator light assembly is examined, they discover that a light bulb inside is burned out. Flight 401's landing gear was locked. The plane could have landed. The only piece of the plane that failed was a $12 light bulb. The full legacy of Flight 401 will take years to unfold. It will ultimately alter how pilots are trained and how accidents are investigated. But first, the tale of Eastern Airlines Flight 401 will take a very bizarre twist. As far as the NTSB is concerned, the investigation into Eastern Airlines Flight 401 is over. Several recommendations were laid out to prevent similar accidents. Those include new regulations instructing air traffic controllers to warn pilots when they're getting too close to the ground. But 4 years later, it became clear there was a bigger lesson to be learned from Eastern Airlines Flight 401. In 1977, two 747s collided on a runway in Tenerife on the Canary Islands. It was the deadliest plane crash of all time. And we're now at takeoff. That accident was caused by a string of miscommunications in the cockpit. Investigators established that 70% of crashes were due to pilot error.
Hello? What photo?
Reed was not going to be happy that he got downstairs to try to solve the problem, and he couldn't see anything, and he's got to come up and report that. Okay, you're wrong, answer. No, I can't see it. And when you get a crew to make that sense, it's not trying to turn around to the captain and say you shouldn't have done that. But this is part of the evolution of what air safety has now learned and been able to teach so many other industries. The enduring legacy of Flight 401 is the delegation of specific tasks in the cockpit. The result is fewer crashes. There was also much more bizarre fallout from this crash. For a while, it seemed that the crew of Flight 401 was haunting other Eastern Airlines flights. For some time after the crash, flight crews and passengers report seeing lifelike apparitions of Flight 401's crew. Many of the ghost sightings were on aircraft fitted with recovered parts from Flight 401. The ghost stories spread quickly. One book devoted entirely to those stories suggests that the ghosts were there to protect passengers and crew from further mishaps. The official reaction of Eastern Airlines to these ghost stories was one of absolute eye-rolling denial in public and in private, a little bit of panic. There are so many ghost sightings that eventually Eastern Airlines removed Flight 401's cannibalized plane parts from all other aircraft. None of those who survived the crash will ever forget the horror they witnessed in the Everglades that night. And 35 years after their ordeal, many of them returned to that swamp to finally recognize the heroic effort